this is your Ina. I'm showing you about our honey huddle, and we have like 300 people coming to our honey huddle in our church. It's a sisterhood of all women, single mother, wife, single mother, and it's everyone, all believers of Jesus Christ. So these sisters and I volunteered to prepare the food, all the food and the decorations for Honey Huddle. It is a nice feeling to volunteer with your sisters in Christ. It's like iron sharpen irons. So these are the favors. Some sisters are actually assigned to do the favors for the people that's coming for honey huddles. It's very nice. It's so organized that we have the sisterhood in Christ, that we can actually have fun all together. We're not a cult, just to let you know, but these are all the women's in our church, and then men's also have their own things that's going on. But yes, we also have a merch. That's it. There is my finished product for the frame. I love it. They also have the books for merch. They have some. Now I'm gonna get something to drink. That's pineapple juice and coconut water. That is so delicious. And the registration. Okay, and we're about to start. Let's go inside.
Before we go into a time of worship, we're going to do a quick giveaway. Are y'all ready? We're ready. All right. I know y'all like those. All right, hold on. The first one is this real cute, stylish hat. And is there anyone with a birthday today? Birthday today. Is there a birthday girl in here? How about birthday this week? Birthday yesterday. Oh, no birthdays this month? Birthday last week? Oh, right here? Come on up, queen. Come on up, there. Grace upon grace, hallelujah. Even though I don't deserve it, you did it. And even though I couldn't earn it, you give it. Make you love me. Who am I that you keep me on your mind? God, I'm just grateful for you. God, I'm just grateful for you. All my life you've been right here by my side. God, I'm just grateful for you. God, I'm just grateful for you. There's only all I do, even though I don't deserve it. Who knew you'd make good of my mistakes? You're nothing like I thought you were. You're better. What a God, what a God, what a God. It's who you are. What a God. There's no. The second one is Miss Raquel. Her fun fact, yes, give it up, is that she worked at Disneyland for 13 years. Whoa. So she has a really good job. I know y'all love Disneyland. Yes, yes. And she worked for the celebrity VIP line, so she met a lot of cool people.
That's cool.
And last but not least, we have our beautiful Miss Sabrina, Pastor Sabrina. Give her a round of applause. Her fun fact is that she auditioned for Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And if she would have got on, she would have been on the same
Justin Timberlake, and all those unrelevant people because she's the best one, you know, and they really lost a star. But we gained a star, okay? Now give it a round of applause for our panels.
All right. By the way, I bombed my audition and just walked out because I knew I did so bad. But we all need to hear how she says Taco Bell, right? Taco Bell. She has a little bit of a Minnesota accent that comes out every once in a while. So she actually scaled it down a little bit there. It's more like Taco Bell.
But it's my Midwest friends that make fun of the way I say it.
Oh, well, that's why your California friends are better. So they're Minnesota friends. Okay, y'all are filling out the raffle cards, right? Yes. Fill those out, turn those in to your queen bee because you want to win the raffles. At the very last thing, the end, it's a great time. Okay, we're gonna get started. First of all, we're so glad that you're here. We have a full house tonight. Listen, I know it's not great for me to be wearing a hat on the stage with the lights. They always tell me not to wear a hat, but I have like thin balding hair, and sometimes if I want to feel confident, I'm gonna put a hat on, so I don't think y'all are like staring at my bald head. So they're just gonna have to deal with dark lights on my eyes tonight, so I'd rather you look at dark lights than bald heads. But bald is beautiful, right? Oh, you guys, we're so glad that you are here tonight, especially if it's your very first time. If it's your first time at Honey, I'm gonna have you raise your hand, but you will not be alone because there's gonna be lots of you. Love it. Who are our single mom honeys? All over the place. You're all dabbled. Any engaged honeys tonight? And the dad. We got at least two. Okay, well, I could keep going, but that'll just eat up my time, but we're all glad that you are here. We are going to talk tonight about friendships, and before we start getting into it, we are going to have a time of Q&As, so if you have a question, write it down. We may answer it while we're talking about it, but if not, we want to have a time where we can kind of unpack and answer any questions that you all may have about friendship or even about our friendship. Oh, yes. I am bringing up my two besties tonight and wanted to talk with you all about really how we got here. Before we get to that, I just wanted to share a little story about my journey of friendship. About 10 years ago, I had a best friend, and my heart got broken, like radically, tragically broken. There was betrayal, there was heartbreak, and when she blew up her life, I was left to pick up a lot of the pieces that of the collateral damage of the decisions she made that had huge impact, not just on me, not just with my kids because they were really close with her, but with our church. It was multi-level and multi-layered. And after that breakup, it felt like a breakup. After my heart was broken, it was a few years where I really struggled with friendship. I really wanted to have people that were close in my life again at that level, the kind of friend that they could knock on your door. Actually, they could just walk in at any time of the day and like have that level of comfort, the kind of friend that like you can cry with and laugh with and vent to, and they'll call you up, like that deep level friendship. I yearned for it because I know how great it is when you have one. And yet I was so hurt. I was like, wanted people to come close, and yet I had walls up. I was like, but you can't get this close to me. And for a few years, I really struggled with how to get my wall back down because I was so wounded, and I'd forgiven, I'd done everything that I needed to, but I couldn't get that wall down. I was so guarded. And so then I went to my therapist, and we had lots of great conversations about all the things. And I was able to start after that making some intentional decisions that would begin to crack that door open to give the opportunity for deep, meaningful friendships again. And so I wanted to share with you that this up here was not what it was what I was looking for, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I felt like at one point that I was just gonna have to resign myself to the fact that I wouldn't have best friends again. Or it would be in that situation where, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I felt this way a lot through my life, where I love them more than they love me. Like, they're my best friend, but I know I'm not their best friend. You know, have you ever felt that way? Like, they mean way more to me than I mean to them. And I felt that way my whole life. And I just kind of went, I'm probably just gonna end up being that person that's just like has a lot of friends, but not a few really close friends. You don't need a lot of close friends. That would be exhausting. But you do need a couple really close friends. And I just had made the decision that maybe that time in my life had passed. I'm 50 now. Like maybe the time for having a bestie is not in my cards anymore. And boy, was I wrong. And so I'm excited to kind of unpack how we all became great friends, and in hopes that it will give you hope and give you tools and maybe give you the push that you need to make some intentional decisions like we all had to, and where to start and where it could possibly go. And so if you have any level of loneliness tonight, if you have any level of like what I felt, which was a little envy of like, I wish I had that. Like, I felt that all the time. If that comes up in you at all, or like, man, I've got a lot of friends, but I don't have anyone that really, really knows me, and that I feel that level of safety and security with, we're gonna unpack some of that for you. And if you have that, you are some of the luckiest women in the world if you have those kind of friendships that are iron sharpening iron kind of friends. So, with that, let's get started. Gabby, Raquel, we're gonna kind of talk about how we first connected, because I think a lot of people don't really know how we all started to become friends, really great friends. So how about Gabby, we start with you. How did we first connect, and what surprised you about how quickly our friendship formed?
Do you want the answer of me and Raquel first?
Yes.
Okay, so Raquel and I both got forced to go to a party that we did not want to go to.
Hated it. Yeah, it was I hosted a party and invited both of them. I actually was like I wasn't even actually that close with either of you at that time, a little closer to Raquel, was still getting to know you, but I had a feeling they would make good friends. And so I'm always looking to like make friendships, connections.
Yes, and I think that was the goal of the party. She had invited a bunch of women where she's just like, I need these people to connect with each other. I was newer to the area. I had seen Raquel around. I hadn't met her until that night. Got to know you a tiny bit. But that night we chatted, connected, and shortly after you got pregnant with her very first baby, and we deeply connected over that and shared show obsessions.
Oh, we could say the show.
Well, we connected over a different one first.
No, say that one.
So our deep love of the Real Housewives first.
It's really deep. Be real around here.
Thank you.
Real Housewives connection. They get connected on a really shallow level.
Yes.
Which is okay.
The Housewives are not shallow.
It was a deep, deep connection. And then that snowballed into other loves of different shows. So this one's gonna be a little bit surprising probably, but we had a deep love for Love is Blind. We're not judging you if you like it too.
Yes. Some of you, you're like, what's Love is Blind? Don't worry about it. You don't worry about it. It's all right. If you don't know what it is, you don't need to know.
It's the cringiest show you can't look away from and you can't stop watching.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
But it was back when it was a newer show. So when Raquel had her daughter's first birthday party, so now we're a whole year later where we've connected. We were all there, and Raquel and I were talking about it.
And I was like, what is Love is Blind? And then they were all talking, and I'm like, I want to get in on this conversation. Because I was like, I'm kind of feeling a little left out. Not in like an insecure way, but I'm like, I want to be a part of the fun that they were having, talking about. So I'm like, and I do this with my girls. Like, I will watch shows that they connect with, not because I want to watch the summer that she turned pretty, but because they love the summer that she turned pretty, and I want to connect with them. And it was the same concept with Gabby and Raquel. Is they were all talking about Love is Blind, so I went home and binged Love is Blind. And then we started a group chat, and it was Love is Blind. And if you have, any of you have friend group chats, whether it's like on TikTok or Instagram or like just texting. Okay, so we have a group chat and we have a name. And it came out of Love is Blind. One of the guys on it, his name was Milton, and so our trio name is Team Milton. So that's how we call ourselves that. We've got merch, our own merch that we've had. That's Team Milton merch.
It's gone really deep.
Yeah. And we don't even care about Milton anymore, but it's like that was years ago, but now we are Team Milton.
Yeah, and from there, the rest was kind of history.
Yeah, we started to then, we connected over Shallow, and then we started to go to the next level. Like, hey, let's start having Team Milton nights, where we would all go out to dinner. And we tried to do it once a month or once every other month, and we would then all go out, we'd have dinner, we would chat, we would do all of our...
We'd rehash the episodes.
Yeah, we'd talk about the episodes. We'd also then like start talking about real life. Raquel is always the one, no matter where you're at. If you're in a business meeting, if you came back from a vacation, if you're going out to dinner, if it's Tuesday, she's gonna be like, what's your rose and your thorn? She's that person. And that got us to open up. Rose and thorn, your highs and lows. Lots of people kind of do all the different ones. What was your rose and thorn of this last week or this last month? And so we'd start discussing and talking and taking turns and sharing our highs and lows. And I don't know, I think some women, we can get vulnerable really quick when you feel safe and when you know there's safety. And so I think we all felt that sense of safety with one another. And so, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add that Sabrina's the ultimate connector of people. It's a gift that she has, and you can trust her in that. Trust her as your pastor to do that, because I did not want to go to this party. I wanted nothing to do with this party. If you know me, I'm not really a small talker. I'm kind of awkward with the small talk. Like, I want to know about your trauma, you know? Like, I want to get deep, which is why I'm always the one who's like, okay, guys, rose and thorn, peak and pit, because it's just such an easy, like, it's really easy to pick one thing that was great about the day or the season you're walking through, and one thing that maybe stunk.
So go to the party, even if you don't want to. And then connecting, with Gabby there, Sabrina and I had already connected. I think I was already on staff at that point.
But Gabby was such a sweet surprise especially in the season of motherhood that I was about to walk into. And what's hilarious is we met at that party and I was like messaging her in the delivery room, having Penelope. They're trying to give me this. I don't want this. What is this? She's like, breathe. And I'm like, she's had 4. Like, some of this has had to happen during at least one of those. So, I think my biggest surprise was just really doing something I didn't want to do and getting outside of my comfort zone. That was really, really challenging, but I love that you talked about connecting over the shallow, because that's a really hard thing for me to do.
She says that, but she's so good at that. Anyone who knows Raquel,
Well, I might be good at it. I
you
don't
are
like it, though.
Okay, well that makes sense. I'm like, you're so good at it. You are good at it. Okay, let's just talk a little bit about safety.
And then go from there.
Yeah. Which I think is wise, because here's been my issue. I am not that way. I dive into the deep end right away with people, and that has burned me. Like, I'm like, I trust everybody. And I like, oh, you said, oh, I trust you with everything. And I will jump way deep, way too quick. And I just don't hold things back. And not everyone can handle you, like, and your heart, and like the sensitivities of what you're going through. Not everyone is supposed to handle that. And so for me, I have to, like, Matthew's always like, you are always too much TMI, like TMI all the time. I'm like, I know nothing except I live in too much information. Like, that is my world. And so he's like, you don't have to tell everyone. Like, if I met someone, I'd be like so almost like friendship thirsty that I would just be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the person, without there being a testing of their maturity, of whether they were gossips, whether they got weird, like, you know, like, oh, this person is not who I thought they were. The mask fell, and I'm like, oh shoot, and now I've given them way too much information about my life, and they didn't need that much access to my life. Maybe the information is wrong. Access is probably a better word. And so I do think that that's wisdom. I like that word, the breadcrumbs, breadcrumbing it out. If you're like me, you need the reins pulled back. If you're like Gabby, I love the breadcrumbs. Let people prove themselves to see what kind of friends they are and will be.
You just triggered a thought, because I do love that you said, like, just there's wisdom in testing your friendships. Your heart is so valuable. Your story is so valuable. We have to protect who we share that stuff with. And I think too, just to add and wrap this up, is we were kind of slow and steady. It was a slow burn. It wasn't I mean, as you can tell, we started with a TV show, but it was a slow burn. It wasn't a jump in. And I think, like, love bombing and fast starts with romantic relationships usually don't work.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing for friendships. Like, have a, for lack of a better phrase, dating phase.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're weeding out, pros and cons sounds really harsh, but seeing if it's the right person for you to be connecting with on that level.
Well, I think it's always good to remember that it's okay to have plenty of friends, but and it's okay to be, I always live my life authentic to all, vulnerable to few, even though I try to be vulnerable to a lot. But I need to, like, not be as vulnerable to so many people. But authentic to everyone, vulnerable to few. So have lots of friends, but even Jesus did this. Like, he had he had hundreds of disciples, and then he had, like, the core, like, group, which was like 50 to 100, and then even out of that, he had the 12 disciples that he traveled with and did life with. Even in that, he had his 3 closest friends out of the 12 disciples, and out of that, he even had John, who was like the beloved, his bestie. So we even see, like, the access that people got to Jesus was different levels. And so who you bring into what I would call the throne room of your heart, that matters. That matters that they have the same values, that you are lining up with them, that you're helping push one another forward. And so I can have friends that have very different belief systems than me, but they're not going to be in this circle, because this circle, it's like they have the heart of hearts level, and I need to make sure that we are sharpening one another, that we are going in the same direction, because who you surround yourself with, who you link shields with, that matters, and you'll end up being like them. And so you want to make sure that you've got some good quality friendships who are going to push you to be the greatest version of yourself and call you on your crap when you do it. Okay, let's shift a little bit. Okay, there's 3 of us in this trio. Thank you. I was like 3, that's not the right word. You saw my panic. There's 3 of us in this trio. Have you, either of you, ever felt left out or felt insecure if 2 of us or you two, or like if there's 2 of us doing something together and one person's not? Like, how have you handled that process, any of that?
I felt it, but like I think this is where like the emotional maturity comes in, because I can say like, oh, they've been best friends longer. I do have my lifelong best friend squad for some group, and so I'm like, oh, I have my besties, and they are besties, and it's that headspace, you know, and I think that it's normal, even in friend groups, to be like, oh, they have that, we don't have that. But I think coming back and grounding yourself in that, like, okay, but we have this, and we have this, and we, you know.
Yeah, so, and I would say even to that, because there are dynamics where ours is very healthy and we still sometimes feel it. There are dynamics that are toxic. Like, there's a weird mean girl energy when when the other 2 are hanging out. We don't have that, so that's something to just be aware of. But yeah, I'm definitely healed, but I will often feel the root of rejection pop up in my life here and there, and it is definitely something that I've struggled with the 2 of them, but also just, it's interesting, throughout my life, I've kind of always been part of trio girlfriends, and they haven't always bared good fruit and ended or even gone the way that I really wanted them to go. So that definitely pops up for me often. I think it was Lisa Bevere that was saying, you know, there's 3 voices speaking at all times. It's the voice of the enemy, the voice of God, and your own voice. And I think when that happens with the 2 of you and anyone else that would pop up with, I think about who the voice is, what's the root of it, and just cut that thing off at the head, because the enemy doesn't want us to have this, especially with the linking shields and ironing, sharpening iron, holding each other accountable. I love our dynamic, and I think groups of friends, when you can, it's so special. Like, I love how different we all are. I love how we roast each other, like on the daily. They roast me a lot, which
You give us lots of reasons to.
it's probably a test. They're probably like, well, she deals with rejection, so we need to grow her out of this.
Giving her thick skin.
You guys, the enemy tried to test me like an hour ago. Gabby was like, I almost accidentally showed up in the same sweater as Sabrina. Could you imagine if they were twinning and I wasn't tonight? I would have had to like go breathe in a paper bag. I would have been, I'm like, that would have been the ultimate test. But we roast each other, we have so much fun. And then the perspectives, like our perspectives are so different, especially with the dynamics of our lives, age gaps. I know we'll get into that, but it's so fun. Don't believe the lie that it won't work, because it does.
Yeah, well, let's talk age gaps. Because I'm like besties with millennials, and I'm a Gen Xer. I laugh, I'm 50. You're 30,
Almost 35.
almost 35, yeah, in May. And 36. So I'm like a good, I can't do math. Something like that. We joke, I always tell Lily, who's my youngest daughter, and then her daughter Penelope, who is our goddaughter, it's the same age gap. You guys, Lily's 19, and Penelope's about to turn 4, and we laugh because I'm like, it's your future best friend that we're raising, helping raise. Like, it's kind of why I was so timid. And I'm glad that she shared her heart with me. It was challenging for me because I was really, I guess, worried about what you all would think, right? I work here, I'm on staff, and I have a role that requires me to deal with a lot of different things. And so I think for me, especially coming from corporate America, I felt like I really wanted to just keep it as professional and, all of those things as possible. Not that anything was happening that wasn't supposed to be happening. I think it just automatically creates either jealousy or a certain perception of favoritism or whatever, when really Matthew and Sabrina are probably harder on me than anyone else. But I think her sharing that with me really helped me see that I was like, and no offense, but I was valuing a lot of people's hearts that I don't even know over like someone who I love dearly and would do anything for. So I think like even just her feeling the comfort to tell me that, and me having the comfort to receive that, and us talking through it. And I think I ended up like posting a picture of us on Instagram like the next day. It was a really big moment for me. It was a big moment for me. At the end of the day, we're all just girls. I'm just a girl. I just want to be loved. Okay, let's talk a little bit about walking through storms. And we all converged on a crazy couple of years. 2024, 2025, we all three walked through hell. Very different hell, but we all walked through our own versions of it. And we happened to all walk through it together. Let's just talk a little bit about like, what did that look like inside of our friendship as we all walked through very difficult seasons? Why don't you start?
Well, one, I think it's what really cemented the depth of our relationship and gave it so much richness. This is where our Team Miltonites and the Roses and Thorns came in so amazingly.
Yeah.
For me, that's like probably just the most intimacy building thing that happened during that time. We were all going through things, and I think as women, we tend to, when we're in a friendship, we either tend to dominate the conversation when we're going through something, or we will retreat and not want to burden our friends. And so during that time, doing the Roses and the Thorns was so special because it forced us to get out of our own situations, to make sure that the other friends were heard. We limited it to this hard thing that's happening right now in my storm, and this thing that I get to still be happy about. What can I celebrate? And it was so unintentional for it to be biblical, but it really is biblical. You know, we rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn, and we were able to do that once a month as a group of friends. And really, it just kind of like, it linked us in a way that kept us all afloat.
One thing that we also, if you've listened to our podcast, you know that Gabby walked through a divorce. And the interesting thing was, in that time, Gabby wasn't ready to share everything that she was going through, but she would just share, like, I'm having a really hard day, and I just need you. I need you guys to just pray with me. I need to feel safe with you. And I think one thing that I'll pat ourselves on the back for is we didn't push her to share more than she was ready. In fact, we were just like, Gabby, whenever you're ready to share, we're here. If you're never ready to share, it's okay. We love you, and we're gonna be in this storm with you, even if we don't know what the storm was.
Right, and that was such a big part of trust building. Like, I knew that I could trust them because they were so patient with me, and I was navigating it all with my ex-husband, wanting to respect his privacy and what we were going through. And so I didn't tell you guys exactly what it was. I don't even think I said it was my marriage. I just said it was hard stuff for a long time with these people that I am the most intimate with. And I still took that time and had that boundary until I was ready. And then when I was ready, they were amazing.
Yeah. It was a sweet time for me too. I had very few people that I could share what my world was going through. That wasn't my husband and my mentor, and so to have friendships that I could be incredibly vulnerable with and raw, and they didn't try to fix me. They just let me be honest and be in the struggle, and they sat in the struggle with me, and it was so it was so great, and it's so great that like we're all like we're all of us are still a little bit in the storm, but we're not in the hurricane. Like, we're not in the hurricane anymore, and so we're kind of on the other side of it. And when we look back at that year, we even had like a sleepover, a Team Milton sleepover at the end of December of 2025. And we talked about what was that, 2024? That was 2024. Into 2024, we're like, this year sucked so bad. Like, what's 2025? And we just like made some like declarations of what we hoped our next year would be like. And because we were all still in the thick of it going into 2025. But 2025 was a turning point for all of us. Again, there's still hard things that we still walk through and things that we're still dealing with, but we're not knee deep in it anymore. So that's helpful. But I look back on that season and I'm like, I can cry about how grateful I am and I love Matthew. I love him. He's the love of my life, my best friend. He's the best. But he's not a girlfriend. You know, it's like, he's not a girlfriend. And
Something about a girl.
there's something about, yes, there's something different about this kind of friendship that doesn't replace and they do not supersede, and they, like, Matthew reminds me all the time, like, I'm your best friend. I'm your bestie. And I'm like, you're right, babe, you are. And it's true, like, Tim is her bestie. So it's like, I get it. Like, we're not gonna compete with spouses or exes, but we are gonna hold place and space for one another and make sure that this doesn't get all of our time, but it does get some of it. And it needs to have intentional action and decisions made to prioritize this in order for it to be the kind of friendship that we all desperately need and want.
Yeah, and I think it is worth saying, just because we are kind of talking like as a group of three, but we each have our own special connection with each other that doesn't involve all three. So sometimes the trio is like spaghetti. We're all raveled into one, and sometimes it's like a little waffle and the syrup's in like each cup. So Joe's like, oh my gosh, Raquel. I'm pregnant, honestly. Like I could go for a waffle. But when Gabby was walking through her storm, a lot of the conversations that she had with Sabrina and I were done separately. So when you first talked to me about it, we were by ourselves. And I think even just respecting that, you know, Sabrina and I weren't gonna go and sidebar about that, right? Or they're not gonna go and sidebar, which I think can happen in trios. The gossip can start, but that was a really, really beautiful time, even though it was like the darkest time, I think, in most of our lives. And this group was really a lifeline. And I think too, like, there were some nights where we would say, what's your rose and thorn? And I would go first. And because my thorn was so thorny, my thorn would be the whole night. And that was okay.
Yeah.
And we would really just kind of go back and forth. And I think too, when you hear like, oh, my friend's going through a hard time, I think we all kind of have this idea of what support looks like. We weren't like talking every single day at each other's houses all the time. It wasn't like that. I mean, I live in San Diego. Seeing them every day would be crazy. So I think too, just understanding even what we all needed in that season, whether it was listening or venting or a care package or you know, whatever. I think sometimes there can be a common misconception with friendship that like physical presence is of higher quality than like the foundation and everything that's going on in the friendship. I would still say that even through that, it was so low maintenance.
Yeah.
And I canceled a lot, you know,
did.
so.
And that's okay too, to be like, I love you guys, I don't have the capacity for this right now. And other times too, where it was just like, we don't have time. Hey, I'm struggling. I need you guys to pray. Tell me your roses and thorns.
Yeah.
And just a text.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of seasons with when she was walking through cancer that she didn't have capacity or physical capacity to get out. It was just like, I barely can keep my eyes open, and I'm caring for a baby and a baby toddler. So we just gave each other permission. I appreciate low maintenance friendships. So if you need to evaluate, am I a low maintenance friend or a high maintenance friend? And then you need to set the right expectations with your people so that they know what to expect and what not to expect from you. So I did have a friend at one point. She's still my friend, but our friendship has changed. She is a friend that wants to like have conversations like every single day. And that just, I did not have capacity for that. And so she still is a great friend of mine, but she's not a trio level friend. So because I just can't meet that need. And her and I had to have an honest conversation about that. Like, I love you and I can't have 2-hour conversations with you every day. So will you accept me as a friend if we just hang out when we see each other and we meet up if that's okay with you? That's the kind of friend I can be. So I want you guys to have permission. She didn't need that from me, or she actually needed that for other people. So she has found other people who can be that for her, and that's not me. And guess what? That's okay. It's absolutely okay for us to have different levels of friendships. Okay, I want to give time for some Q&As. So we're gonna have Talianne and Brooklyn. They got some microphones. If you have a question about friendships, about our friendship, about anything, raise your hand, and we are going to just give a little bit of time, about 10 minutes. If you got more questions, you can always like shoot us an email through my email, sabrina@gracesd.tv, and we can like rotate and we'll figure some things out. But also talk about it amongst yourselves. Here's what we're gonna do. This is our favorite time of Honey Huddles, is our table talk time. Every table has a queen bee or a queen bee co-lead. So if you're the queen bee at your table, will you please raise your hand so everyone knows who's in charge at the table? Andrew, you barely raised your hand. I'm the queen bee. Okay, this is what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna give you some guidelines for what to share. You can just say pass while you are sharing. You're gonna be handed a timer. And when the sand timer is up.
And when the timer is up, we shared our ideas about Jesus Christ, our friendship, our sisterhood, And we enjoyed everyone, and of course we love Jesus Christ, gathering all together for the glory of God. Okay, thank you for coming and thank you for watching. See you next time. God bless you.